In a heart-wrenching twist of fate, USC's dreams of making the college football playoff just took a massive blow after a gut-punch defeat to their bitter rivals at Notre Dame, leaving fans and players alike questioning if this legendary showdown could be fading into history. Imagine the scene in South Bend, Indiana. Ominous dark clouds rolling in over the iconic touchdown Jesus statue, with torrential rain drenching everyone at Notre Dame Stadium. It felt like the heavens themselves were mourning the potential end of one of college football's most storied rivalries, spanning nearly a century. But here's where it gets controversial. Could this really be the final curtain for USC versus Notre Dame? Both teams have expressed optimism about keeping the tradition alive beyond this season, pending some agreements in the coming months. Yet, if this turns out to be the last matchup, 99 years after their inaugural clash, it would be an especially bitter pill for the 20th-ranked Trojans. Their playoff aspirations, already fragile, now dangle by the slimmest thread after that 34-24 setback. We simply didn't perform at our best level tonight against a talented road opponent. USC head coach Lincoln Riley remarked, "We missed out on chances that are absolutely gutting right now." The contest seemed poised for a comeback when the 13th-ranked Irish botched a 31-yard field goal attempt in the fourth quarter. Just 3 plays afterward, USC quarterback Jayden Maiava connected with wide receiver Makai Lemon for a spectacular 42-yard gain. Suddenly, the momentum swung back to Riley and his potent offense. That's when the Trojans coach unleashed a risky trick play that even he couldn't justify post-game. Lemon dashed to the right on an end around, taking the handoff from Maiava, but he was quickly surrounded by Notre Dame's defense. He faked a throw, only for the ball to be ripped away in a fumble. When pressed on why he chose that play at that critical juncture, Riley was blunt. "Dumb decision," he admitted. "Just a dumb decision." This isn't the first time Riley's game management has drawn scrutiny after a defeat. But even the coach himself second-guessed his choices on Saturday, particularly on 2 unsuccessful fourth-down conversions where the Trojans came up short on seemingly manageable attempts. And this is the part most people miss: the ripple effects of those calls on a team's morale and strategy. For instance, think about how a coach's split-second decisions can shift the entire game's narrative, turning potential momentum into despair. It's a reminder for beginners in football that every play call carries enormous weight, often deciding the fate of a season. Notre Dame's Jalen Sneed tries to bring down USC quarterback Jayden Maiava in the first quarter on Saturday in South Bend, Indy. Paul Beatty, Associated Press. "I opted for that reverse pass and those fourth-down plays that just weren't smart and left our team in tough spots," Riley explained. "I need to step up big time for the guys." The fumbling by Lemon, a standout who rarely errs, was particularly painful and expensive. Notre Dame capitalized quickly, scoring in the end zone 7 plays later when quarterback C.J. Carr dove in from 1 yard out, essentially sealing the victory. Still, the defeat wasn't solely about those isolated moments. Errors and wasted chances marred the Trojans' effort well before that decisive blow. On the possession preceding the fumble, Maiava tossed an interception, the start of 2 he threw in the game's final 20 minutes. The next drive collapsed when USC couldn't convert on a pivotal 4th and 1 at midfield, with the Irish shutting down tight end Lake McCree on a play-action pass. Beyond individual plays, USC struggled immensely against Notre Dame's ground assault, which amassed 306 rushing yards, the second highest total any team has achieved during Riley's time at USC. Much of that came from Jeremiyah Love, who exploded for a 63-yard run early on and finished with a personal best 228 yards and 2 touchdowns. USC's defenders committed basic mistakes, allowing the Irish to exploit gaps effortlessly. "I felt like we overreacted and got a bit frantic at points," Riley said about the run defense. Adding to the frustration, USC's own rushing attack sputtered. Just a week after King Miller rumbled for 158 yards, the walk-on running back managed only 70 yards on 18 carries against Notre Dame. The rest of the ground game was a disaster, netting a loss of 24 yards overall. The contrast in rushing performances was even more glaring given the weather, with rain intensifying throughout the second half. Forced to abandon their reliable run game from recent games, the Trojans leaned on Maeva to pass through the downpour. Maeva, who completed just 52% of his throws, his lowest of the season, insisted the rain wasn't a factor, but he was far from pleased with his outing. "Honestly, I just stunk it up," Maeva said. "I've got to elevate my game for the team." Despite the struggles, USC still sparked big plays through the air. Maeva had 9 completions of 15 yards or longer, with the most impactful occurring mid-third quarter while trailing by 5. He lobbed a Hail Mary into the rain toward Jacoby Lane, who outran the Notre Dame secondary and hauled it in for a 59-yard touchdown. That score gave the Trojans the lead and shifted the game's energy for about 15 seconds. On the following kickoff, Jadarian Price dodged one USC player, then another, finding open field all the way to the end zone in a stunning 100-yard return, restoring Notre Dame's advantage. It's remarkable the game even started, given the severe thunderstorms that drenched the stadium for hours pre-kickoff, accompanied by lightning that threatened to postpone it entirely. The skies cleared just in time for the rivalry to proceed as scheduled. But for USC, those dark clouds might hang over them well after Saturday. Not only could there be no rematch next year to settle the score, but with 2 losses now on their record, the Trojans have zero room for more slip-ups if they're to chase a playoff berth. That goal seemed distant after the game, yet addressing his dejected squad, Riley recalled how Ohio State, the previous year's champions, bounced back after a devastating rivalry loss without another defeat. In this era of college football, where teams are so evenly matched, anything can happen, Riley noted. Regarding the rivalry's potential continuation, "I don't dwell on the future," he added. "I'm focused on the present. Each game is incredibly important to us right now." Now, here's a thought-provoking angle. Is Lincoln Riley's aggressive play calling a bold stroke of genius, or a reckless gamble that costs more than it wins? And in an age of expanding playoffs, do rivalries like USC versus Notre Dame even matter as much when conference realignments could scrap them all together? What do you think? Should the series survive, or is it time to let go? Share your opinions in the comments below, and let's debate. Was this call stupid, as Riley said, or just a high-risk move in a high-stakes sport? We'd love to hear your takes, agreements, or disagreements.